What's up, Hacksters? Welcome to Friday. I'm very excited for a new unboxing. I've had a couple of things on my desk for a while now from M5Stack. Thank you to the team for sending these over. And I first saw these at Maker Faire Bay Area last year. Ran into the team over there. It was super cool. We shot a little interview, but the audio was horrible. So now I finally get to reveal to you the M5Dial and Cardputer from M5Stack. You may have seen these around online. We're going to pull them out of the box. I haven't had a chance to play with them because I've been saving them for this moment. So let's just go ahead and get them out of the box. These are both based on the M5Stamp S3 module, which relies on an ESP32 that we're going to dig into with the datasheet and everything in a minute. We've got this beautiful packaging on the Cardputer. It's a little beautiful little device. Both of these, both are based on the M5Stamp S3, and they're also both designed for working with sort of home automation, smart home projects. So this one has a couple of unusual features that you may have already noticed, but ooh, let's see. Oh, it's a peel kind of situation. Interesting. Huh. Oh, it's a sticker. How do we get this? Oh, I didn't need to do that. Oh, well. We'll pretend that didn't happen. I can just open the box over here. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and we can try to dig into those. But for now, I'm just going to try and get this out of here. We can do this in a logical fashion. There we go. So it comes with a little Allen key that you can use to get this open. And as with most M5Stack devices, it is self-documented. It's got all these amazing labels on it, 56 key keyboard, and you can program this with Arduino, UIFlow, and ESP-IDF, I believe. You can definitely do that with the Rotary Dial phone. They list out a bunch of the different built-in options here. You've got that ESP32S3, and it's a specific type that has some extra flash and a slightly reduced operating temperature compared to some other versions of the ESP32S3. We got Wi-Fi, we've got 56 keys, an LCD on the go, USB on the go, so it can switch between host and device mode. TF card, you've got this slot on the top where you can stick in a micro SD card. You've got a couple of buttons, an on-off switch, which I love, for small devices. Just being able to turn them off when you're not using them is surprisingly not as universal as one might think, and very convenient. Then you've got an infrared LED for controlling remote control things. You've got a speaker, which is over here, and a microphone. We already mentioned the infrared. We've got a Grove connector and a built-in battery, 1.14-inch LCD, and then this backpack. So the other aspects that you might already have noticed include this Lego row here, where you can connect it to Lego devices that you've set up. So if you've got some cool like smart home Lego devices, you can link those up easily. And it also has a magnet built in so that you can stick it to a fridge or whatever, which I think is super cool. You might have noticed when I took this out of the box, the little Allen key was sticking to it. That is the magnet. So cool. So we've got a USB-C connector over here. I'm going to see if it came pre-charged, and if not, we're going to try. Oh, it made a little noise. And indeed, we have life. Signs of life. It says any key to start. It's always a little difficult to. Oh, look at that. Pretty. Scan, record, chat. And then you've got all these different options. Let's see. ESP now. Infrared remote. A REPL, read, evaluate, print loop, so you can do a little code on it. You got set Wi-Fi, a timer built in for like kitchen stuff, especially good with that fridge magnet type situation. You've got a record option. You've got scan. I'm gonna try and tone down the brightness here a little bit so that we can get a little bit better of a view of the screen. Is that gonna show up? Sort of. Well, anyway, I'm planning on doing a follow-up video, by the way, with each one of these is going to get its own little sort of like how-to, because there's a lot of different options available for each of these, and unfortunately my camera is responding to some traffic outside. Apologies. There we go. Okay, so here's our little this is so cool. Hit enter to send. Well, let's see. EG 16,1 address and data. Well, I don't have the smarts off the top of my head to be able to come up with infrared commands off the top of my head. So let's see if we can just like back out of here. Holding the back button does nothing. Holding this other back button does nothing. Okay. Well, I'm just going to assume that I can like turn it off and on again. And when we do an in-depth getting started video, we'll dig into all the different options you've got there. So let's take a quick look at the product page for this so we can learn a little bit more about it. We've got the Cardputer kit with M5 Stamp S3. This comes out at $29.90, which is really good for what it is. You got a whole little keyboard. You've got a beautiful enclosure that's ready to attach to all kinds of different stuff. You've got a whole little screen on there. Ruthlessly documented. One might say rigorously, but I think that ruthlessly is the word here. They just don't let up with it. Incredible. A little bit more information about this. You've got a powerful dual-core processor. You've got Wi-Fi functionality, various peripherals and sensors. We already went into some of that. Rapid functional verification, industrial control, and home automation systems. So both this and the dial are also designed for industrial control, if you would so like to use it that way. I've been playing around a lot with my Flipper Zero and infrared control of various devices at my house. So this makes me happy. Just having more little infrared controllers around, even though that's honestly one of the more base level things that it can do. And then you've got the option for expansions, I2C sensors, etc. And that Grove connector that we mentioned, which is over here, which is an I2C expansion port. Let's see. So you can, for example, break it out for temperature and humidity sensors, light sensors, pressure sensors, other buttons. Other Grove devices include like gas sensors and flex sensors, all kinds of stuff like that. You've got a built-in lithium battery solution, Lego hole extensions. Did we miss anything? I want to, oh yeah, you've got a micro SD card slot for expanding storage space. Already mentioned that. And I would love to take a quick look right now at the Stamp S3 module, which is powered by that ESP32 S3, because I think that's one of the more interesting in-depth things on here. Now, we mentioned the programming. This person mentions that the Arduino IDE may be slow and janky, so you can use CLion or VS Code with Platform IO is one recommendation from a user here. So there is a documentation page. We've linked both the product pages and the docs pages in the description below, so check those out. Also, be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of thing. And they talk about different operations. They've got a low power option as well, so if you don't want it to be on all the time at full power, you can put it in sort of a sleep mode. And they do have an Arduino IDE tutorial, but as mentioned, you may want to explore other options. In the docs page, on M5Stack.com, you can search for Stamp S3 and you'll find a bunch of different devices that use this same module, including this DIN meter. You've got the Stamp S3 module itself. You've got a couple of different breakouts for it, and also a bigger breakout board that makes it breadboard compatible, and then a socket kit. The Stamp S3 page itself, where you can take a look at that module that is stuck into the top of the Cardputer, which, yeah, you've got integrated programmable LEDs, RGB LEDs, and buttons on the stamp module as well. So not only do you have the Cardputer, but if you want to break out the little Stamp S3 module itself, then you'll be able to also program some interactions with inputs and feedback over the buttons and LEDs, which I think is pretty cool. So I wanted to look up this controller because I've heard of the ESP32C3 and this ESP32S3, which is basically sort of like a more powerful AI tuned, slightly more power hungry, compared to the ESP32C3, but I didn't know specifically about this one. So let's have a look at this. This is just the data sheet that you can find from Espressif online. So here you have ESP32S3, and then this version is an FN8. So it's got flash memory. It is a normal temperature one, which means it has a slightly smaller temperature range, ambient temperature range, than the regular S3, and it's got 8 megs of flash. So here we go. FN8, 8 megs of quad SPI flash, and ambient temperature range of 40 to 85 degrees Celsius versus 105. Yeah, so that's what that chip is doing on there. That powers the the M5Stamp S3, which powers the Cardputer and this Rotary Dial that we're going to look at now. So let's pull this out of its packaging as well and take a look. And then there's also one other thing that I'll show you that came in the package as well. So here is a programmable multifunction wireless controller. This is also designed for industrial control and or home automation projects. So you've got this one has an actual touch screen on it, power in 6 to 36 volts, depending on what you're trying to do, 2 Grove expansions, a 45 millimeter diameter. You've got a timer option, rotary encoder, and that same ESP32S3. And then tons of documentation on the back, 1.28-inch TFT touchscreen, plus some capacitive touch. Those 2 breakouts on there, USB-C in as before. You've got an RTC in here, which is pretty cool, RFID as well. And then that same Stamp S3 module. Let's get it out of the box. Also got a buzzer on here. So they're kind of similar ideas, but broken out into completely different interfaces depending on what you're trying to build. Let me see if I can get this off of here. So back to the cool stuff that we were doing. Roshan asks, where can I buy this module? I'm from India. You can buy these directly on the M5Stack website. I'm not sure about how well this works internationally, but I do know that all this stuff you can buy from them specifically. This was sent over, both of these were sent over by the M5Stack team. So I can't honestly tell you like what the process is like, but it looks like a pretty standard interface, obviously. This one is $34.90. The Cardputer kit we just looked at is $29.90. Very exciting. Okay, so let's take a look at this again. I was having a little trouble getting this off of here, but it looks like we've got sort of we've got like a washer interface situation. Yeah, there we go. That's so cool. So you could pretty easily design like a 3D printable attachment for this where you could attach it to whatever kind of stuff. I'm imagining like a bicycle for some reason with like this on the handlebars. I think that'd be pretty cool. So let's see, how do we turn this bad boy on? Oh, you know what? I think it said on there. Do I like push the thing down? A mystery. We will figure it out in a second. So let's take a quick look at the product page. You got the Rotary Dial info. Again, we've got that M5Stack, M5Stamp S3 on there. The installation ring. How do I turn this on? The standout feature of the M5Dial is its rotary encoder. Yeah, so if you're trying to do anything with timers, I can see this being really useful for that in the kitchen. But you've also got volume, brightness, menu options, control home applications like lights, air conditioning, and curtains, all that good stuff, with instant feedback with Wi-Fi built in there again. You've got RFID detection on here, which is pretty cool, especially for home systems, being able to put a little bit of like security on there. Obviously, RFID is not the most secure option that you could use for home security, but as an extra layer in a sort of Swiss cheese model, that definitely could help. You could use it also for things like choosing music to play. So one thing that I'm trying to figure out in my new place is how to keep myself off of my phone. And one thing I want to do is just basically automate everything around me so I don't have to interact with the phone in the first place. If I don't have to pick it up, then maybe I don't like get lost in the phone. So being able to control my music is one of the biggies for me, because I always want to have music playing, and so like it's sort of game over once I pick up the phone in order to change the music or change my audiobook or whatever. And so being able to control that from a cute little interface sounds very exciting for me. So let's see. This one also has a battery port with a built-in charging circuit, so you could connect to external lithium batteries. I believe that maybe what I'm missing here actually is just a, oh, here we go. Wake up can be started by pressing the wake button and IRQ signal triggered by RTC periodically. Neat. Now let me see. This might not actually have a built-in battery, but we'll find out soon enough. And this one does support Arduino, UIFlow, and ESP-IDF. So I'm going to pull out a USB-C cable here and plug it in, and we'll see what we get. Oh, let's get the camera back on this guy. There we go. Okay, cool. So there's an LCD test set of options. Then you can go to the, ooh, look at that. I've got this screwed on a little bit too tightly. I think it might be messing with the, okay. So this has a slightly resistant feel with some detents. So it does stop at each of these little areas, which is pretty cool. LCD test, RTC with time, RTC being real-time clock, of course, RFID test, ooh, brightness set, Wi-Fi scan, Bluetooth server, temperature control demo, and more. Now, can I just touch that, or do I need to like, oh, I pressed it. Cool. Power off, LVGL widgets, LVGL benchmark. It's wonderful. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try and go back. Can I go back? I don't want to quit. Well, maybe I want to quit this menu. Okay, cool. Cool. Neat. Brightness set. Oh, nice. Now we can actually see what's going on my camera. Beautiful. That's always a challenge with screen devices when we're putting them on camera. Cool. Ooh. Got a crosshair on this one. Awesome. Now does it keep the, no, it got rid of my drawing! How dare you! Well, if you create a masterpiece, then don't change the color in the LCD test. Cool, great. Well, this is extremely cute, and I can't wait to dig into that more. Oh! So let's take another quick look at the product page. You've got 6 to 36 volts of voltage input, so it can tolerate that, which is pretty cool. Smart home control, IoT projects, access control systems, industrial control. More info on all of that. 36 volts in, you can tolerate up to 28.1 milliamps. And then you can check out the reviews and such. So let's take a quick look at the documentation. Again, this has a docs page, which you can find by either looking for all of the M5Stamp S3 devices or just looking for this itself. You can find it from the product page as well. I think the RTC functionality is really good for especially timer applications for like in your kitchen and such. But they do have a factory test demo and a smart home panel program in Windows. So there's this Windows EXE easy loader that you can get to do stuff with Windows. And lots of beautiful little diagrams and a whole schematic and more on the pins. I'm especially interested in this because I've been designing this device that I call a pomander that's sort of like a home. It's sort of like a bunch of fancy timers in one for doing stuff with your brain. So like meditation, this thing that I used to call the creativity button that allows you to sort of be in liminal thought states. And there's all kinds of interesting stuff you can do with that. And I was designing this with a little Seed Shao module, but I think that the Rotary Dial here actually encompasses a lot of those same functions that I was going for. And if I design a custom enclosure around it, it'll be about the same size as this PCB that I was designing, which I did get a run of and did not work the way I wanted it to yet. So it could save me a lot of trouble, honestly. Check out the Stamp S3 specific page if you'd like. Check out the datasheet for that. You can also find that Stamp S3 breakout, and you can also find that M5Stack DIN meter with M5Stamp S3. I did want to take apart the Cardputer really quick before we go off because I think, you know, they gave us the little Allen key, so let's do that. There's ones on the front and ones on the back as well. And I'm gonna, again, be publishing sort of a, let's turn it off first. Publishing a getting started for each of these. Hello, there we go. And then there's one other thing in this package that they sent me, which I thought was cute, which is a roll of M5Stack branded tape. That's a surprise that I mentioned in the description. It is just a roll of basically like Scotch tape with the M5Stack logo on it, which I thought was pretty cute. Check that out. So now I can make like M5Stack branded stuff if I'd like to do that. I'm not sure if this was intentional or like a mistake, but it's a very cute little inclusion. Once again, these were sent over by the M5Stack team for full disclosure. Oh, this one doesn't want to come out, or else it's already loose. Oh no, I already loosened it. Ooh, check that out. Okay, so on the back we see the battery module. Pretty hefty battery, and here are the magnets. It's not like cheap electronics you'll find where they put those in just to make it feel hefty and cool. It does make it feel hefty and cool, but also those serve a functional purpose. And then you've got the same chart, which is on the PCB, black solder mask, white silk screen, very beautiful. Those same holes for the speaker, so it comes out the back, as well as on the side here. And you could use this without the battery if you just wanted to have your own, like have power in through the USB-C. So that's cool. It actually gets smaller, but also I like it as is with all the pieces together because that's what I'll probably try to do is like program it to do something cool and then stick it to my fridge. So thanks again to M5Stack for sending these over. It's been a while since they've been laying around in my office, and like I mentioned, I've been getting this new studio ready. Everything's still a little special, as you may have noticed during the technical interruption. But we're gonna trick it out with all kinds of cool stuff like Rotary Dial thingies and little stick-on magnetic computer thingies. And I think they'll be a great complement to the stuff that I've got going on in the studio. And we're going to get to explore a lot of more of that. We're going to do some getting starteds. We're going to do some instructional walkthroughs. We're going to do some Hackster projects. Be sure to check out, by the way, the M5Stack Hackster community. where you can find tons of open source DIY projects to do with your M5Stack technology. All kinds of people already building and publishing projects with these. Tons of cool stuff. So go check those out. That's Hackster.io/M5Stack. And follow us for more hardware tutorials, unboxings, and interviews. And as always, hack on.